Welcome to the class on Boolean searches. I'd like to ask you a question real quick. How many of you have ever heard of Boolean searches? No. This is a good thing. Well, how many here have ever heard of databases?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, database, most of the information that you find on the internet is stored in a database, one or many databases actually. Who knows, unlimited numbers of databases. And those markers, okay. So, how many of you here would consider yourself experienced on databases?
I would.
Good. And you should know what a table, does a table make any sense to anybody?
Yes.
A database table. I'm going to draw just this quick sketch. In a database table, all information, all data is stored in a digital, think of it as a digital table, where each of these separate boxes is called a field. And if you know this, don't hesitate to holler out. You've heard of fields?
Yes.
Okay, so does anyone know what this vertical stack of fields would be called?
A column.
That's correct. We'll give you a star for the class.
I have a golden star.
And how about, what would the horizontal row be called?
A row.
Yes, that's true. It is called a row. This is called a row. And what is the name, though, of all of those pieces of data that make up each row?
Cell.
Well,
we call them cells.
Cell, yeah, that's this. Yeah. But and maybe this is almost like a trick question, and I don't mean it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if this database table had like last name, first name, middle initial.
That'd be title, wouldn't it?
Huh?
That'd be title, wouldn't it?
Well, no. I mean, if this is what we're storing in the table fields, right? And we can just carry that on out.
Okay.
What would each distinct row be called? But starts with an R. R-E-C.
Record.
Correct.
There you go. Oh,
So a row and a record are synonymous terms.
record.
Well, when databases store things systematically, they can also be searched systematically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you run a program like at your jobs, you probably have a specialized program that will search databases systematically. But a lot of people don't know that databases are searched systematically by things like Google. I don't even need to ask you how many people in here have used Google search. You're all nuts.
Every day.
And how many in here, when you search first, you type in a search and you get back 25,543,000 hits?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
Easily.
It's common, isn't it?
Very much so.
And how many in here sometimes just gets frustrated, like, why am I getting so many? How long do you think of your lifetime it would take to go through all of those?
Pretty much.
Well, learning Boolean, let me write that word. This is a key word we're doing here. A Boolean is named after a mathematician. I think his name was Booles or something like. But Boolean is a means of searching database tables systematically. And since most information on the internet is stored in databases, millions of databases, when you use Boolean searches correctly, you can end up, narrowing and making your results more precise. Now, how many here would like to make your searches more accurate?
I would love to.
Sign me up.
Okay, so that's what you're going to learn today. In short, is how do you use Boolean search techniques to make your database searches more precise. I already see sort of the gears turning and the heads nodding and the smiles hopefully happening. Let me just erase this real quick. How's this for rent? If you are going to use Boolean operators, and I think I'm going to go ahead and tell you the Boolean modifiers now, because that will help us be able to get into the searches better. So just let's put off to the side that these are the and, the or, and the not. And the next thing, in addition to the Boolean operators, is we have Boolean, can anyone see this word?
Modifier.
Yep.
Modifiers. And a Boolean modifier, they're real easy. So just listen carefully, because my drawing might not be great, but you can definitely hear what these are. Those are what?
Quotes.
Quotation marks, yes. And everybody knows what these are?
Parentheses.
Parentheses, correct. And how about this little thing that you'll see?
Asterisk.
That's correct. Very good. A lot of people don't know that's the correct name. So these first ones are the Boolean operators and or not. The second are the Boolean modifiers, quotation marks, parentheses, or some people call them brackets, and the asterisk. So right now, just to show you how much fun this can be, here it is. Does anyone, do we have pencils and things?
You have one.
Okay. I've given you 5 statements. Don't make this harder than it is.
Don't overthink it.
This is right. This is just say, I want to see you write a query. You've seen these examples here. And I got just 5. And then when we're done, we'll just quickly discuss the results as a learning exercise. That have to do, so, see, you just learned something.
Right.
A phrase, a term, it's more than one word, put it in quotes. You remember when I had the examples up here, like, you know,
Right.
so I would just say,
I didn't even think of that.
well, that's okay. And by the way, again, Google, try. You might find out there's not as much difference as you think. But generally speaking, in a database, if you want Star Wars to be searched as Star Wars, not Star, and also Wars, you would actually do it like this. Put in quotes. Okay, are we done?
Yeah.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. I hope it's been a learning for you.
Very much so.
I sort of sensed that we were all on board together, and I think we'll be able to go to our workplaces and home and try some of these things, because that's really the best way to learn. It's not like an exact thing. Sometimes you just have to try. And different databases work a little differently too, and that's one reason why it's good to try different kinds of queries. I have one favor, please, and then we're done for the day. If you could please do the class evaluation and don't labor over it. I'm not asking you to write big, giant paragraphs. If you could just briefly state things to answer the questions, I would really appreciate it. And then afterwards, I have some refreshments for us.